Darren Rizzi is going to fire you up. And I'm going to tell you why, because in today's video, we go through a bunch of different quotes, a bunch of different changes that he's making for the New Orleans Saints. And I'm here to tell you, this guy right here, he might be a really, really good decision to lead this football team, not just this season, but into the future as well. But before we get into why Darren Rizzi is going to fire you up, and before I get you amped up and ready to run through a brick wall, I was doing some research, and I actually found this pretty interesting. So reminder, sub for dubs. It's a thing that we believe here on the channel. If we get more subscribers, we get more wins. And to be quite honest, we haven't been getting a lot of subscribers. We haven't been getting a lot of wins. You see what I'm saying? So let's turn that thing around. Interim head coaches in their first game. Fun fact, since 2010, they're 18-13 as a record. They're also 8-2 after week 12 versus the spread and straight up. That's a pretty interesting stat. I thought it was pretty cool. 9-3 versus the spread since 2020, and they're 15-5 against the spread since 2014. So if you want the Saints to keep these numbers moving, you want to keep the metrics positive, then I need you to sub for dubs. And let's take down the Dirty Birds. Now, just to kind of get you to know your interim head coach, who is Darren Rizzi? Well, he's a guy that, quite frankly, a lot of players have already started to rally around in terms of, like, being excited to have him as their coach. Like, he is a smart football mind. He has a lot of experience as a coach. He started out at Colgate, spent time at New Haven, Northeastern, Rutgers, Rhode Island. Then he was out in Miami for some time with the Dolphins. Then he's been with the Saints. And he has a very strong football mentality. He's a football guy. He's very passionate. He's got the mindset that just really gets you ready to go. And I've seen people on social media. I'm not saying I am. I've just seen people say it on social media. I'm relaying it to you. People are saying, wow, kind of gives me Dan Campbell vibes. And I'll tell you what, this guy might have you wanting to bite some kneecaps too. Now, not just me. I'm not the only one excited about it. The players are excited about it too. There are reports coming out that the team had Merry Christmas shirts already printed for the guy because he was the head coach and they were going to rock him. And Binky, Colin frickin' Saunders, he quote tweeted a video of Darren Rizzi at his press conference being like, oh, I already got damn Merry Christmas t-shirts. And he goes, LOL, my guy. Matter of fact, I'm going to wear my shirt tomorrow. Well, that was yesterday. Not Binky. It's the guy who's a little bit less attractive. Blake Groupie rocking the Merry Christmas t-shirt. Now, first things first, Blake, Colin Saunders, whoever's watching in the Saints front office or in the locker room, I'll take 10. I will take 10 Merry Christmas shirts. Just let me know where I need to place an order because I need me one of these. And I think that it's a really telling move that the New Orleans Saints team is already buying in to their interim head coach. And I think a really cool thing that he's done, it's the first move that he's made as the head coach. He's changing the setup in the locker room. And I do think that minor details can make major changes and can make major impacts. So back in 2020, just story time, the locker room was split up just kind of randomly because they didn't want, if anybody got COVID in a specific position, they didn't want the whole position to get wiped out. And they just never really changed it since then. They just kind of stuck with it. Darren Rizzi's like, nope, we're changing that. Position groups are together. That, I think, is a phenomenal idea. More locker rooms that I've been in than not have been by position group. So I think that's just a good practice in general. I don't see why it makes total sense to be totally random. But anyway, that's why the boogeyman is gone, and that's why Darren Rizzi is here to stay, at least for right now. And I told you I was going to get you amped up. I don't think that there is a guy who has a better pulse on the fan base in the coaching staff right now. Dennis Allen, there was no question about it. He had zero pulse. He had zero clue. He had zero connection with the Who Dat Nation. That's not the case with Darren the Riz God Rizzi. Started calling him the Rizzler in the Riz God last year. Electric nickname. And it's all even better now because of the Rizzler. Shout out AJ and Big Justice. Now listen to this quote from Darren Rizzi. Listen, they, as in the fans, should be pissed off. I'm pissed off. The fans should be pissed off. The people of New Orleans, the people of New Orleans, the people of Louisiana, no one should be happy. And I think this city deserves a winner. They know what winning football looks like. And it's our job to bring that back. My message is this. I can't promise a lot. I can't promise passion. I can promise fight. And I can tell you that team is going to go, and I can tell you that team is going to go out there every Sunday, and that's going to be clear. That we're going to have a team that's full of passion and a team that's full of fighters. God, that gets me amped up. I'm ready to run through a wall. I'm just like shaking thinking about this right now. That I can promise you. Now, the football's got to get better. The execution's got to get better. All right. But we're not going to lack those two things. We're not going to be boring to watch. That I can promise you. I'll tell you what. I know you guys don't like John Gruden, but his YouTube channel is absolutely hilarious. Darren Rizzi, after his press conference, got me feeling nicey. Oh, God, I just love that quote from Darren Rizzi. I mean, it's electric. It's very understanding. It's clear. It's concise. It's direct. It answers questions. It gives the fans, it gives the players, it gives media, it gives people hope. It gives them something to root for, quite frankly. This is a completely different tone than we've seen from the New Orleans Saints over the past few years. Darren Rizzi has me feeling absolutely nicey. And I just got to say this. Darren Rizzi, their Rizzler, hey, you go beat Atlanta. I'll tell you what, right now, you already got some people won over. You beat the Falcons. You are an official fan favorite for the New Orleans Saints of the Who Dat Nation. Now, I got to ask you one question. Do you believe in Darren Rizzi? We film this video as a part of our weekly live show every single Wednesday around 4:30 Central Time. And I made it the live poll. 436 votes in total. 75% say yes. So, do you agree with the live poll or do you disagree? Let me know whether or not you believe in Darren Rizzi as the New Orleans Saints head coach. Now, if you want to see the new era Saints, if you want to see Darren Rizzi's team in action, or if you want to see Marshawn Lattimore come back to the Superdome on December 15th, you guys can get tickets at Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use code CHATSPORTS. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Just wanted to give you that heads up. But, hey, it's not too late to get tickets for Alabama LSU at Death Valley. So go get yourself some tickets if you haven't already. Game Time specializes in last-minute tickets for the lowest price guaranteed. And like I mentioned, get $20 off your first purchase when you download the Game Time app and use code CHATSPORTS. Game Time also has a feature called Game Time Picks that filters out the fluff to show you only great seats and gets rid of all the tickets and all the seats that you aren't interested in buying. It just filters out all the fluff. So that way you can only find tickets that you're interested in buying and that you really want to invest in and go make memories at. Like, it doesn't have to just be sporting events, too. It could be concerts, comedy shows, or anything in between. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off. Terms do apply. The link is in the comments and description of this video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So more from Darren Rizzi. I thought this quote was really, really cool and extremely aware as well. It's simple, but right now the product is not acceptable. When did Dennis Allen say that? I mean, I'm not saying he didn't. He probably said it. He probably said that it wasn't good. Look, we're not performing well. Look, we're not doing this. Right now, the product is not acceptable. It's direct. It's exact. It's to the point. Darren Rizzi's not beating around the bush. He is going to attack this issue head on. He's going to make this team play harder. We've already seen it at practice this week. Reports coming in from Wednesday at practice that Derek Carr is saying he ran more than he has since he joined the New Orleans Saints. It has been more intense. It's been a lot more active. I like that. I think that's a really good thing for this football team. Darren Rizzi whipping some ass into shape. And I also like that he's a guy who has no excuses. John Taffer, shout out to you. I don't embrace excuses. I embrace solutions. Darren Rizzi must be a fan of old Johnny T because when he was asked about injuries and how they've impacted the roster, of course he acknowledged them, saying, yeah, it's been a problem, but we just have to, he says, no excuses. We have to execute better. He cut off the question short, said, no excuses, we have to execute better. Good coaches find a way to win. Good coaches find a way to battle through adversity. Good teams battle through adversity. Good teams find ways to win when the going gets tough. Like they said in Animal House, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. The Saints have not been getting going, so maybe Darren Rizzi can spark a fire under their ass and get something happening. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I want them to go off and win out and win the rest of their games. Quite frankly, I like the idea of having a top 3 pick. But if you go and win out, looks like you have a pretty good candidate for your head coach. Looks like you have a pretty good situation ahead of you. Looks like the locker room's already kind of bought in. You can tell that that's the case because the tone is just very different when Darren Rizzi speaks. Like it's really unique and it's really cool. I think that when it comes to Darren Rizzi specifically, he just is a leader of men. He captures and demands attention, and he's a guy that's easy to respect because he's going to give respect right back. There was, I believe it was James Hurst. He discussed the whole Jameis Winston not taking a knee against the Falcons in Week 18 last year, and he said, like, look, that was an opportunity for Dennis Allen to win a lot of points back and win a lot of respect back from us, and he didn't do that. He kind of just threw the team under the bus. And Darren Rizzi, I don't think is the guy who's going to necessarily do that. Could I be wrong? Sure. I don't think I'm going to be, though. And I actually thought this was pretty cool. Doing some research and looking on social media, looking on the internet, I found a really, really cool article. I could not recommend it enough, actually. It's an article from the 33rd team, Why Special Teams Coordinator Make Good Head Coaches. And I'm going to kind of just give you the spark notes of it. Long story short, if you don't want to go read it, you're wasting your, thank you for watching, but you should. It's really, really informative. And it's very, like, telling about who he is and how he thinks as a football mind. Like, I got a little, football emotional. I was like, damn, this guy really might be making me believe a little bit. Like, I just got to say, it started making me believe just a little bit. Call me crazy when I'm in this situation that the Saints are in. I'm going to be grasping onto any sort of hope that I can get. But just to get the spark notes, I kind of rambled there. Just to give you the spark notes really quick. Why Darren Rizzi can be great. He works with the entire team. So whether it's offense, defense, starters, backups, when you're on special teams, you're working with everybody. The receivers and the running backs, they're on the hands team. The linemen, they're on field goal, punts, all that kind of stuff. When you have the defensive line, that's on punt block, field goal block. The linebackers in the mix. You have everybody in the mix. You have the kickers, the long snappers. Like, everybody is involved with that. So I think that's a really key factor, understanding not just the players, but the players understanding and having a relationship with you as well. There's familiarity with opponents. One of the big one of the big things that Darren Rizzi pointed out in that article is that Bill Parcells said that the biggest thing as a special team coordinator is not just knowing your own roster up and down. It's also important to know the rosters of teams within your division and then also the teams of the opponents that you're playing against. You got to know every single player on the roster. And he also went on a long tangent to discuss why he believes special teams coordinators are really, really good about situational football. He believed that special teams coordinators are the best in the league at situational football because there's different rules when it comes to special teams. A lot of the times, the special teams coordinators are tasked with clock and time management, the timeouts, the challenges. That's a thing that oftentimes falls on the special teams coordinator. And then just overall daily operations when it comes to the draft process, roster management, when it comes to elevating players on game day and position battles and breakdowns and everything like that. Like, the special teams coordinator does a lot more than you would just initially think. They're not just in charge of kickoffs and punts. That's not it. They have a lot of things on their plate, and Darren Rizzi pointed out a lot of good things. Again, go read that article. It's really informative. But let's show some love to the Rizzler. Let's show some love to the Rizzler. Everyone type Riz down in the comments and send some love to our interim head coach. I hope that Darren Rizzi watches the show. I like to think that some of the players do. Actually, I know for a fact some of the players watch the show. So I would love for you guys to help me in showing some love to Darren Rizzi. Wishing him the best of luck this season. Wishing him the best of luck with the Saints for the future. And hopefully he can be the guy. But Darren Rizzi, you stay golden. We'll see you on game day.